Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for coming down today for our recycling refresher. We appreciate your enthusiasm. We're ready. Awesome. I love some chuckles. Thank you. So, quick introductions. My name is Samantha Carr. I'm the environmental manager in the economic development department. Joining me from our team today is Valerie Lee. She is the organizer of the event. So, round of applause for Valerie. Also joining us today are our recycling coordinators from our solid waste hauler, Republic Services. We have Christina, Catherine, and Sophia. Round of applause. Thank you, everybody. Also joining us today are community partners, Pogo Park. We have Minna and Abigail. So round of applause. So a few items. We have, if you go straight out these doors, we have bathrooms. We also have a water fountain. We also have food. If you haven't signed in, please do. We want to make sure that we capture everybody. And if you're interested in receiving any future information, we want to capture those emails. We have a listserv. So we'll add you to the listserv, and you can hear about fun events like this, options for disposing of any holiday trees, as well as just free programs that are available to Richmond residents. Also, just want to say really quickly and just frame this event. So I do want to note that there are many state laws that require recycling, and they require everybody to recycle. It also requires for there to be proper labeling on bins, as well as everybody to recycle correctly. So we want to try to support everybody, community members, businesses, multifamily dwellings, with achieving these state laws and being in compliance. So that's one of the reasons that we want to host this event today and this workshop. Additionally, when talking about recycling, you'll always hear 4 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot, or compost. But that doesn't work with the 4 R's, so rot. And so I want to note that today is really going to be focused on recycling and composting, but there are 2 other R's that we also need to include in our everyday in order to get close to achieving zero waste. The systems aren't perfect, but if we can all do our best to reduce, to reuse, that will immediately reduce the amount of debris that's going through our solid waste and recycling streams. So I do want to note that we provided some swag bags in the back to try to support everybody with trying to reduce, to reuse. So I just kind of want to frame that real quick. We're only talking about a couple of pieces, but it's a lot of work that needs to be done in order to reduce recycling, reduce solid waste, reduce litter, reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Republic Services.
Thank you very much, Samantha. So my name is Christina, this is Sophia, and Catherine's over there. And we're your recycling coordinators / sustainability advisors. And what we do is we go around the community. You might see us tabling at City of Richmond events, passing out food pails and resources. We also support the local businesses to recycle and compost. So that's a little bit about what we do for the Richmond community. But today, we have a recycling presentation for you all. And a quick overview about what we'll be talking about. So first, we're going to start with explaining what is organic waste recycling or composting, what goes in there, what happens, what we do with your green waste. Then we'll be moving on to recycling. And then we'll talk about garbage, and we'll cover household hazardous waste. And at the end, we'll also talk about some programs that are available to you as Richmond residents. So before we actually jump in, as Samantha mentioned, there are a few state laws that require recycling, such as AB 341. This is a state law that requires commercial businesses to recycle and multifamilies. And then next came AB 1826. Again, this mostly impacted the commercial side, and it required that they must compost. This one specifically targeted large food generators like restaurants, cafeterias, hospitals. However, with SB 1383, this one was the most strict and required composting for everybody. So residents, commercial businesses, multifamilies. It has really low thresholds, so nearly everybody has to compost. And it's the reason why you see 3-bin systems when you're out. labels when you're out, the colors, everything is because of this new SB 1383. And another policy that impacts us is the Chinese national sword. So this is a policy that came at around 2018, 2019. We used to send a lot of our recycling overseas, really contaminated. So maybe if you had a ketchup bottle, you didn't really need to rinse it back then. If you just emptied it, you could throw it in your recycling. But now we do ask that you rinse it before you put it in your blue bin, so that we can keep our recycling as clean as possible. Because, yeah, back during that time, our recycling was denied because it was a little bit too dirty. So now we have to meet a half of a percent of contamination per load. So that means that your plastics, your bottles, try to keep them as clean as possible before you put them in the recycling so that we don't have rejected loads and we can actually recycle the material. And then it's important to recycle and compost to reduce our environmental impact, right? We want to keep our environment clean, plastics out of the ocean. A couple fun facts, or not so fun, but experts estimate that about 14 million tons of plastics enter the oceans annually, and even on a human level that we might consume about a credit card's worth of plastic a week, so maybe like 5 grams. But of course, that depends on what you're eating and things like that. Maybe if you eat fish, you get maybe more plastic consumption. I don't know. But we'll just jump into the organic waste recycling, and I'll pass it to Sophia.
All right, thank you, Christina. So this is what you'll see behind restaurants for these bigger bins, and then you should have those green carts outside of your house or in your apartment complexes. Everybody should have them now. So SB 1383 kind of has broadened what we accept in these containers. So what is organics? So that's basically anything that comes from nature and degrades into soil over time. So that's going to be things like food waste. We take meat, bones, anything food, apple cores, banana peels, fruits, vegetables, dairy products, and bread. And then we also take yard trimmings, anything from your yard, flowers. We see a lot of flowers from indoors still wrapped in plastic. We don't want the plastic in there. We just want flowers. And then also we take food soiled paper. So the best example is a pizza box. If it's covered in grease, cheese, marinara sauce, all that good stuff, that can go into your green bin. Paper plates, same thing. And then napkins, same thing. If they're covered in food, that's going to be into your green bin.
How about the aluminum paper? Sometimes the aluminum paper have a...
Yeah, no aluminum in there. Yep, just things that come from nature. That's the best way to think about it. Yeah, so what not to put into the organics container, this is where things get a little bit tricky. Obviously, with all these new laws, we're in transition. And so things like bioplastics, they give the impression that they are compostable. And I'll show you in the next slide what we do with your compostable items. But these actually do not break down in our process. So if you're given takeout stuff that says compostable, it's great in theory, but in our system, it does not break down. So what does happen is we pick up your green cart, we put it in our truck, and it gets dumped into these big piles. It gets separated out into rows, grinded, and we say, given the elements, it's rotated, given air, sunlight, water, and then bugs, bacteria, all break it down. And the key here is that it gets air. And as you can see in this bottom right corner, that's all the filtered out plastics and things like that that we take out of there. And our end product is this beautiful compost stuff here, which we use, we give it to local schools. The cities use it, and that's kind of our way to give nature back to nature. It's a pretty good system as long as we can have you separate. And then recycling. So recycling is going to be your blue bin. Restaurants should have the blue, green, and black system as well for separating. These categories are going to be paper, plastic, metal, and glass. And it is, the trickiest one with this is plastic. So we want your rigid plastics, your hard plastics, so containers, things like that. If you have a yogurt container, if you have like laundry detergent bottles, things like that that are really hard, we want that. What we don't want is your flimsy plastics. Packaging is a big one. So everybody's getting Amazon packaging. It comes in those thin plastic films. We don't want that. We want your hard plastics. And then clean paper. So the pizza box example, that's dirty cardboard. That's dirty paper, right? We don't want that. If essentially, using that example still, if you were to take the top off, if that side was clean, the clean cardboard goes into the recycling. And the dirty side could go into the compost. And then aluminum, metals, all that good stuff too. We take that. So bagging best practices. So we just did a big route reviews where we flipped a bunch of lids and looked inside. It's part of SB 1383 compliance. And so what we found was that plastic bags were the biggest contaminant, particularly for commercial customers. And so best practices, we want shredded paper needs to be bagged. That's just because obviously when you're dumping a cart, if you've got shredded paper, it flies everywhere. Just like this flew everywhere. And then bagging your recyclables, no bag is best. So ideally, if you're separating at home, try not to use a bag. Or if you're gonna use a bag, your bag also has to be recyclable. So I use my Trader Joe's bags at home, the paper bags. And then if you do need to use a plastic bag, it has to be clear. This is because when it arrives at the sorting line, it's more likely to get sorted as trash if they can't see into it. So all your hard work kind of goes to waste and goes to the landfill instead, which is not what we want. We want to divert as much as possible. And then best practices, we want as much as your cardboard as possible, so please flatten it. And then empty, clean, and dry. As Christina mentioned, we need those peanut butter jars scraped out as best you can. Just give things a rinse. We still want it. We just need it to be empty, clean, and dry. And then I'll pass it back to Christina for garbage.
I broke it. It's okay. Okay, so for garbage is basically everything that you can't recycle and you can't compost. So things like small plastics, like your utensils, straws, food-soiled containers like these, styrofoam. There's a big misconception that styrofoam is recyclable. However, we ask that you please put it in the garbage. A lot of your gloves and masks, PPE that you might have in the garbage. Clothes and shoes, if you can't donate it, then it would need to go to the garbage. Pet waste and diapers also go in the garbage. Painted and untreated wood, so if you maybe just took down your fence or something and you need to throw it away, throw it to the garbage. And then last thing, it's a lot of like candy wrappers, chip bags. I know it looks like aluminum and plastic all separately we can recycle, but all together, when they're in this form, we need to put them in the trash. And as you guys know, or you might not know, but when we pick up your garbage, we take it to a landfill, and a landfill is just a big hole in the ground where we dump your garbage every single day, and we're layering it like a lasagna. So we only have so much space in our landfill, which is why it's super important to compost and recycle. Because once this gets full, we might turn it into a park where you can go and walk. However, when this gets full, we'll have to go and find another hole to dig in the ground, which is not what we want for our environment or our future. So the last topic we'll talk about is hazardous waste. So these are examples of what we consider hazardous waste. So things like your e-waste, batteries, any car oils, liquids, pharmaceuticals, sharps, aerosol cans. We'll take it at our hazardous waste facility. So these are items that we cannot put in the green, blue, or black bin. So never dispose of them. Instead, please drop them off here at our hazardous waste facility. We're open Wednesday through Saturday from 9 to 4. This is a no-cost drop-off for Richmond residents. All you need is your ID. So yeah, remember these kinds of materials, never put them in your bins at home. Instead, bring them over to us for a no-cost drop-off. And then additionally, at this facility, you can also drop off up to 3 mattresses each month for no cost. There's more information about our mattress program in your bag. And then more programs that are available to you for no cost is our curbside cleanups. So every year, Richmond residents get 2 cleanups. So you can use 2 of them for 2 15-bag cleanups, or you can replace one of your 15-bag cleanups for a bulky item pickup. And Richmond residents get the most. They get 3 bulky items. So you can put out a dishwasher, sofa, carpets, 3 big items to your curb. We'll come by and we'll collect it. Just make sure to give us a call about 1 week in advance if you're interested in setting up a cleanup. So again, this is included. You get it every year. If you don't use it, you lose it. But I always try to call because it's something that you're paying for in your rates. And especially if you have a lot of extra waste this holiday season and you haven't used your 15-bag cleanup, give us a call. So again, it's no cost to you. And then since we are in the holiday season, there's a couple options for your Christmas tree disposal. So if you have a natural Christmas tree, you can either cut it up and put it in your green bin. If you have a natural tree but with flocking, that would need to go in your trash. And also the fake Christmas trees would also need to go to your garbage. So that's one option for disposal. The next option would be to use one of your on-call bulk pickups. So a Christmas tree could be one of your 3 items. If you haven't used it this year, you can give us a call. Just set it out on your curb and we'll come and pick it up. And then the third option is 4-fee curbside collection. So if you've used all your cleanups, but you still want us to come by and pick it up, we can do that for a fee. And you can give us a call at 262-7100, and they'll quote you. And then the last one, if you are able to come and drop it off yourself, we are taking natural Christmas trees for no additional cost at our transfer station. So that's Golden Bear Transfer Station at 1 Par Boulevard in Richmond. And we'll be taking natural Christmas trees for no cost through the first week of February. So if you are able to do that, that's an option for you too. And then the last one, you might be able to donate to some local organizations around the city. Yeah, so they collect holiday trees in exchange for a donation. So yeah, that's all we have. So we'll pass it back to Valerie.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Valerie. So if you received a swag bag, there should be an I Heart Richmond booklet inside. If you want to look inside, it has a bunch of resources that will be helpful for you as a Richmond and a Contra Costa County resident. So it has phone numbers, grant programs, and even apps that you can contact. If you ever have like a pothole you want to report, that's really important. So definitely go through that booklet. It will be really helpful. And there's also a foodware ordinance pamphlet inside as well. So this is an ordinance that the Richmond has adopted in July 2010. It's also called the Richmond Municipal Code 9.17. So the main requirements of this ordinance is so retail establishments and food providers do not sell, rent, or use products that are made out of polyester foam, so like styrofoam, as well as plastic stirrers and plastic straws. So that means that they cannot sell or use them in any of the restaurants. This also means that it requires all food providers to use recyclable, compostable, and reusable foodware as well. However, this allows the food providers and restaurants to charge a takeout fee to their customers. they don't have to do it, but they can if they want to. And following the food ordinance, there are some state laws that are related to the food ordinance, where we have the California Assembly Bill 1884, where it bans the sale and use of plastic straws and stirrers in retail food and lodging establishments. Non-plastic alternatives can only be provided if the customers request them. Then we have the AB 1276, where it was created in extension to AB 1884, where it mandates all food retailers and platforms to provide single-use foodware, accessories, and condiments only upon request. So that could be any of the utensils that you want to use when you do takeout. It also the condiment, the plastic condiments that you use. And then we have AB 45, where it permits the manufacture and sale of wide range of products containing regulated amounts of industrial hemp. Next, we want to go to the California Senate Bill 1053. So this bill just got passed recently by California. However, it will not be regulated until January 1st of 2026. This bill is for single-use bags, where they are not allowed to sell plastic bags. And then I want to talk about the resources that the City of Richmond provides. So we have the free compost giveaway at 101 Pittsburgh Avenue. So this happens every first Wednesday of the month. If you go there from 9 to 4 p.m., you will be able to get at least 2 cubic yards of soil and compost. So that's a really great opportunity if you garden. And then we have the free green waste kitchen pail. So we're gonna be giving them out when you guys leave. But if you know anyone that wants one, they can come to the 3rd floor of 450. So that would be the city manager's office, and you can just request it. Next, we have more resources, especially for businesses. If straws are important, we have a straw distributor list where these are compostable straws that you could have access to. So there's going to be a website and number that you can call if you're ever interested. And if you're not able to get any in Richmond, there's also similar or same cities that follow the same mandate. And if you have any vendors that you recommend, please reach out and we can add it more to this list. Next, we have our Richmond Neighborhood Dumpster Day. So this isn't something that Republic Services does. This is something that the city provides. So if you're ever interested, you would want to contact your neighborhood council. There's this link on the slide that you can go to, and you can see all the information about the neighborhood dumpster days. I believe in the past there were postcards sent out to homes as well to inform you if your neighborhood is doing that dumpster day. So you will be able to have access to this information later when I post this slide on the Richmond website as well. So do not worry. Okay, and I'm gonna pass it to Pogo Park.
May I ask a question?
Oh, it's okay if you hold it until the end. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, my name is Abigail, and this is my coworker, Minna. We're here from Pogo Park, and we got asked to kind of share everyone the work that we've been doing. So at Pogo Park, we received a Clean California grant, and a big chunk of this grant was to educate everyone on how to properly dispose of waste. Next. So with this, we partnered with the City of Richmond, Republic Services, and Recycle More to help us with this project and kind of solidify it. So for a while, we've been thinking on how we can help everyone sort through their waste correctly, whether it's trash, recycle, compost, or special disposal, meaning like hazardous waste and things like that. For that, we've done a lot of research on many websites to kind of learn and educate ourselves. And so we researched as many common household items as possible. And with that, after receiving all the information, we started compiling a list that looks like this with everything that's needed. And aside from putting the list together, we've also been thinking on how to make it understandable for the public. So as you can see, we included the image of the item, the name of it, where to take it, the cost, and any important notes that are required for those specific items. And after we compiled the list together, we asked our partners to help us check and verify that all of the information on there is up to date and correct. And so now that we're done with the list, we're actually in the process of creating a small booklet like this. It'll be in English and Spanish, and it'll have all of the information in there, as well as the location, their information as well, and hours and everything. So everything is in one book. This is kind of the examples of the items that we've found. Aside from creating this booklet, we've been also thinking on how to kind of engage the community with this, and we came up with a game. The game consists of these 4 boxes representing each color representing a certain bin. So like blue is recycle, black is trash, green is compost, and yellow is hazardous waste or special disposal. The game also consists of these playing cards, and which all of the items are items from our list. And so we've been having special events at our park, at Pogo Park. And so at these events, we had a tent set up with tables, a banner, and the game on there so that the community members can come in and play. This is a picture of kind of like what it looks like. So once the community members come up to the table, we give them a random stack of cards from our deck of cards, and we ask them to sort through them. So if something belongs in the trash, they're going to put the card right in the black box and things like that. At the end of the game, we gave every participant a compost pail to take home and encourage them to compost. This is a small clip of what it looks like. Yeah. So we realized that this game actually kind of brought up a lot of conversations. A lot of people don't know where a lot of things don't go, or are either they either don't know or are confused. And so this game definitely it was a big hit. And so that is the end of our presentation, and that's kind of like the work that we've been doing. So also, I believe in your bags we do have a draft of the list that we've worked on, just so that you guys can have that with you guys before the booklet comes out to help you guys out. Thank you.
So now we're going to start the questions. I'll be passing the mic around.
Okay, so I had a question that related back to food soil containers. So for example, when you purchase, say, meat at the grocery store, and you know how it comes on that tray, is that considered hard enough, or is that garbage?
As I remember, they're made out of like styrofoam for the most part, right?
Some are styrofoam, some are plastic.
Okay, yeah, so I would say if it's styrofoam, for sure trash. Honestly, even if it's plastic, it's usually like a thin, flimsy, it's not super rigid. And I would say just throw that one in the trash, unless it's a paper one. I think some of them come in paper. If it's paper, then yes, it can go in the compost. But I would say any other should go in the trash. But I
Okay.
think they also have like a pack,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Like a weird, yeah. I would just say trash.
Trash, okay. And my next question was, when you referenced the ketchup bottle and you said rinse it out because of the contamination, or it contaminates it soils the recycling, does that not contaminate our water source when we rinse it down?
Well, I don't know. We don't have an East Bay mud person here.
I'm like, you have me sending all this stuff down the drain, rinsing it out.
I mean, I think as long as it's not
The same place our toilet stuff goes to. Cuts
Right.
Down the drain is a lot better than what goes down the toilet.
Yeah,
It gets treated in the wastewater plant.
exactly.
Okay, well, that's a good answer. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, just as long as you're not rinsing like your like cleaners, hazardous waste, and things like that. Definitely don't rinse that down the drain. Don't put your medicine down the drain. That's why we have our hazardous waste facility to take that. But yeah, I mean, as far as I know, yeah, ketchup, jam, peanut butter. If you're rinsing it out and putting it down the drain, it should be okay. Yeah, good question.
Any other?
I have two questions too. One is more of a request. I live in a condo complex and we have 4 buildings with bulletin boards. How can I get 4 extra copies of the written materials from today's free bag?
I can provide my information to you, and then we
Okay.
can coordinate.
Okay.
And we can do a drop off.
Okay, great. The second is an actual question about bottle caps. I see on the inside page here. Now, I attended a Zoom meeting maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, from somebody with Republic Services, a man who said, no lids of any kind. And you
Yeah.
can go alphabetically. No bottle caps, because they almost always have plastic liners in them. No plastic lids. No lids from cans, even though they're metal. No lids from booze bottles, from anything you can think of. The blanket thing to remember is no lids, ever.
Oh.
Not twist off from jars, not anything. And you have here that metal can go in the regular recycling, even with the plastic liner.
Yeah, I think.
Because that's mixed media, and
It
doesn't
is.
that contaminate the metal that is really recyclable when it gets all mixed up for recycling?
I think our metal is like the cleanest stream. So when it goes through our recycling center, it'll get collected with a magnet. So even if it has any kind of like plastic lining on one side of it, it's okay. It'll get collected. We don't really worry too much about plastic in the metal, so I'm surprised that that came out. So when it comes to lids, if you can keep it on your jars and on your bottles, that's the best. The only kind of lids that I know that we don't like today is like a water bottle lid.
Yeah.
So if you throw away your water bottle and then you find the lid afterwards, throw the lid to the trash.
Yeah.
The lid is too small to recycle.
Yeah.
But if you can keep it together and throw it away, that's perfect. Yeah, I would say.
Keep the lid on the bottle and throw it away?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. Yeah, I'm sorry if you guys got a lot of like mixed messaging about lids. So yeah, if you have a glass jar with a metal lid, throw it in your recycling as is. If it comes apart, that's okay too, because like I said, we have a magnet, it'll get it. So even like if you have glass soda bottles and you're like popping off the metal lid, that's okay in the recycling. Small pieces of metal will get collected with our magnet. So that's okay. The only thing metal-wise that we worry about are big pieces of metal. A lot of people like to put car parts in the recycling. Don't do that. Please. Small pieces of metal are okay, like your lids. Yeah, we mostly worry about small plastics, so any small plastic lids, if it's not together in your bottle, throw it to the trash. Does that clarify or answer your question?
Yes, so there's more recyclable material than what I thought. But
Yes.
he said no can lids either. And
Oh.
and you're saying when lids are separated from their container, you trash them.
Plastic
Because-
lids.
Plastic
Lids, yeah.
lids.
So like
Okay.
water bottle lids, plastic soda lids. When those come separate, they usually fall through our cracks, or if they come out loose already, small pieces of plastic can get caught in our machinery and then cause, I don't know, they just fall in the cracks and they give us a big headache.
But a can lid, for example, that will get, obviously if you open a can of soup
yeah.
and you've got the metal lid, that can go back inside the clean, washed out can,
Yeah, that's fine.
and then it can be recycled.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
Even
get
the
it. We'll catch
pop-top
it.
ones, the pop-top is an aluminum pop-top?
That should be okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
And I thought of something else, if I can just ask one more. Amazon uses that fiber tape on all of its boxes.
Oh.
I've always told people that the fiber tape is not recyclable and it will contaminate tons of cardboard when it gets up. And if people don't want to rip it off, put the whole cardboard thing down the trash. But I want to be sure that that's correct. Is that fiber tape that Amazon uses and some other companies, or what about masking tape and what about duct tape that's still stuck on boxes? Or
I would
something?
say, so as long as they're only using the tape on the seams and not like to fully wrap the cardboard, that's okay. So when cardboard goes through the recycling process, it gets kind of just turns into like mush, and then they can separate any staples, any plastics through a filtering
staples too.
system.
Okay, so you can leave staples in boxes?
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
big industrial size inch-long staples?
That should be
Litter.
okay. Like I said, as long as it's not like fully covered. Like they didn't like,
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
you said on the seams.
Yeah, on
on
the
the
seams
seams.
it's okay. If it's pretty minimal, let's say you just got a box and you just sliced it open, there's like a tape right there, you can throw it in your recycling. It'll get separated once. So what we do is we bale it and we ship it out, right? The actual recycler, once they kind of make it into pulp and filter out all the metal, the tape, everything that's on it, labels, that's okay too. They'll separate it.
Okay, so the cardboard turning to mush is what enables the recycling industry to pull out the tapes and the sticky labels.
Yeah.
And the staples and everything else.
Yeah, they'll be able to filter
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And real quick, we're going to go to a couple of questions that are online. So Catalin, I'm going to unmute you, and you are, please unmute yourself, and you can ask your question.
Oh, shoot. I wrote it down. Let me see. So first of all, coffee bags. They are paper with a lining that says that it's lined with PLA, a plant-based polymer that is said to be compostable. And I'm wondering about that. And then my other question is about broken glass. Like I remember at some point hearing, don't, a broken, like something breaks in the kitchen, the glass a drinking glass or a glass jar, that it should go in the trash, not in the recycling. Is that still true? And then I guess my third one is about cardboard. If it gets wet, are you not supposed to recycle it, or is it okay now? Thanks.
Good questions. Okay, so I'll answer your first one. The coffee filter. So we do take coffee filters in the compost. If it's lined on both sides with PLA, I would say no. So for any food soiled paper, we sometimes like your coffee cups, they'll be shiny on one side and pretty matte on the other. We like those in the compost. If it's maybe shiny on one side and then shiny on the outside, that might suggest that there's two plastic linings on it. So when it goes to the composting system, that paper can't really break free and it's stuck in between the plastic. So if your coffee liner is something like that, then I would say no. But I mean, that's kind
I'm
of hard
sorry,
to tell.
I'm not talking about coffee filters. I'm talking
Oh.
about the coffee bag, the bag that the
Oh, the
coffee
coffee
comes in from like
bags.
Catahoula. It says it's compostable, but it is clearly lined with this thin lining. So if you're not familiar with those bags, that'd just be something to look at, because they're a local
Okay.
beloved coffee shop, but lots of coffee shops sell coffee in paper bags that have some type
Oh,
of thin lining.
I
So,
see.
yeah, so then the other two, that's fine about that. The
Okay.
next two questions are the cardboard and the glass. Thanks.
Yeah, okay. So for glass, so if you drop like a soda glass, we'll take that in the recycling, that's fine. So when we come and pick up your recycling, we dump it into our truck. Very rarely does your glass make it intact to our facility anyway. But it just depends, I guess, because if you do drop your glass, a soda bottle glass, if you can try to bag it in some kind of bag or cardboard and then put it in your recycling, so when we dump it, it doesn't go flying everywhere. That'd be the best. If you drop glassware, we don't take glassware anyways in the recycling. That's just a different type of glass that we don't recycle, so that would go in your trash. I hope that clarifies that question. And then same procedures. So if you drop your glass, obviously maybe bag it up or put it in a container and then throw it away. And then for the last questions about cardboard that gets wet, I don't know. Do you think blue?
Cardboard that gets wet, if only if it's brown or the green.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I just, with my team, so we agree. So if cardboard gets wet, brown cardboard, it can go in the green. Any other kind of cardboard, maybe something that's a little bit more printed, that's fine in the blue. Do you agree? Yeah. Okay. Good
Thank
questions.
you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Catalin. And I also want to give a quick shout out. Feel free, if you have any questions about specific items, feel free to take a photo and you can send it to the recycling coordinator's email.
Yeah.
I know I've done that a few times for the coffee pods. So definitely feel free to email them with any questions, and they're always wonderful at responding. We have one last question that we have online, that was asked online from Jane. And this question was asked when an AB 1826, 341, SB 1383 was being discussed. And they wanted to know approximately when these laws were passed.
I know that a SB 1383 was passed January 1st of 2020. As far as AB 1826, I believe that started a little bit before that. I don't want to say what year exactly because I'm not really too sure. But they do have a longer history, as well as AB 341. They go way back, more than SB 1383. But that is something you guys could definitely email us about or contact us, and we will provide more information. It's recycling coordinators at republicservices.com.
Sorry, there's one more online question, and this is a really great question, so I do want to make sure that it is shared with everybody. So yes, we are recording today, and we will be posting this on the city's website. It will be viewable at www.richmondenvironment.org. We have a zero waste section. We also have a news and update section. It'll probably be on the news and updates section first, and then it'll also be posted forever and ever on the zero waste portion of the website. With that, I think we have time for maybe one last question before we're going to test your knowledge. I hope everybody's been taking notes.
Oh, okay.
I saw on one of the recycling slides that there were like pots and pans at the bottom. So I'm wondering if that's like if we have an old pot that we want to recycle, like we can just put it in there.
Yes, absolutely. We take, since it is metal, we take it all pots, pans, all that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And then
Yes.
I can hand it.
Sure.
So I just want to, I'll make this quick. I just appreciate all the work that's being done, and I love the game. I've played the game many times and helped people play the game, and that's such important work. But one thing we're leaving out today, and this is something I have been thinking about, the team at Pogo has been thinking about it, how do you explain why it's important to compost? And if we don't compost and that food waste and yard waste goes to the garbage dump and gets capped, it turns into methane, which is a greenhouse gas. And that's, we have to get that across. And why is that important? Well, the climate's changing everywhere. We know that. I'm not going to go into all of that. And then the other thing is that food waste gets out of the organic stream and is no longer available to regenerate and create new plants. So I just feel like all of us here, it's like if we could work on that piece.
Yeah, that's a great point. We will definitely try to incorporate that more now that we're getting more feedback. But it is important to know that you're right. Yeah, greenhouse gases like methane, not good. Does, especially because it's 80 times more potent than carbon dioxide, right? So yes. We definitely don't want that trapped in our air, in our environment. So yes, thank you for your feedback. Okay, and I'll pass this on to Valerie, I think. I think that was the last question.
Thank you. So we're going to start our activity. So we're going to have 2 questions. If anyone wants to volunteer, please do. And you might have some extra swag. Oh, you want to answer? Yes. Oh, so she said blue. And where's the clicker?
I have a question about that. When the aluminum foil is wadded up, it could have food residue inside. Doesn't that mean it should go in the garbage rather than the recycling?
So when it comes to aluminum foil, as long as you crumble it up, it should be fine. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. I mean, you want to at least clean it as much as you can, right? You don't want to leave a full burrito inside. So just make sure it's empty and just crumble it up. Oh, it's not. Oh, can we change the slide? Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it goes into the blue bin. Next, we have a trick question. So there's going to be 3 items. Oh, you want to answer?
So the plate and the napkin, since they have food items on them, they would go in the compost, and then the plastic fork that it looks like it would go in the trash.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. So this is going to be our warm-up activity, and if anyone wants to stay and play the game that Pogo Park has, please. If not, you guys can leave. We have food outside. Please grab a compost pail. They're going to be on that bench. And thank you, everyone.
We'll also be hanging around, so feel free to grab us if you have any questions, suggestions.
Yeah,
And thank
you,
you
everyone.
so much.